And how did you get into comedy?
Well, I was working at a photography studio. That's what I was trained as a photographer, and I was doing darkroom work, and he was a food photographer. So he'd have food stylists come in, and they would take black and white photographs of food, which seems really, the opposite of what works with food, right? But he was quite the master and was really good at lighting, and he'd been in business for like 30 years and was very close to retiring, right? So the reason that it was black and white is because all these photographs needed to be sent to newspapers, and that's the only thing that they printed at that time. So I would have to do, cheesy delight will surprise your family, and they'd have a jello mold of something, or cheesy surprise will delight your family. I mean, it was kind of a lot of the same, but you'd make like 500 photographs to send out to papers all across the nation, and they would be in the women's section of the newspapers, which was like one day a week. So that I worked there for about 6 years, and then I think I want to say I saw comedy, like maybe Robin Williams at the Great American Music Hall. He and a bunch of the other guys, Lorenzo, I think, Jim Giovanni, Mark McCullum. I mean, it was a TV presentation. Maybe it was a local PBS or something like that.
No, that was the Great American Laugh Off.
Oh, was it? Okay, all right.
Which was which was a significant thing, because after they tried to bring in, or they tried to bring back, Laughing, they brought Jim Giovanni and Annette the Toad. Yeah. And Robin. They brought them into, because they came to the zoo and discovered them, and then brought them back. And the show did not do well, but what came out of that was his first stand-up appearance, which was that show. And so, did you see that show live, or did you see it on TV?
I saw it on TV. I can remember being there and kind of my head sort of exploding and saying, what's this? I mean, of course, Robin's amazing and just blew the doors off of everything. But realizing, oh, I'm in the city where this happens. Like, this is great. And I think that there was a show, maybe at the old Waldorf, that was sort of a reprise of some of these people. This is even before the Punchline. The Waldorf used to be on the other side of the Punchline. There were two buildings, right? So they were just working on opening this up. I think that, the entrepreneurs were seeing the writing on the wall, and it was like, hey, maybe we can do this full time, as opposed to one special night or one special booking or whatever. There were enough comics, I think, well, this, to go around at that point. A friend was out visiting, and I got tickets to this night at the Waldorf, and we happened to be in Golden Gate Park roller skating, because that's about the time when they sort of closed off the streets and everybody could roller skate. And we literally ran into Robin Williams roller skating, just randomly. And I sort of recognized him, and I can remember my friend, after we just chatted briefly, I didn't know him or anything at that point, but just like, we're going to come and see your show tonight. And my friend going, he's not that funny. I was just like, well, he's not supposed, and on roller skates, really? Like, he's just having a day in the park, right? So anyway, went to that show, and then there started to be other shows that, like the other cafe started having shows, and the Punchline opened up. I think Mike Binder was one of the first comedians that was booked, and I was there in the audience, right? So I became an avid fan, like yourself, and started going to all these shows. And one night at the other cafe, there was a flyer on the table from Duck's Breath Mystery Theater. And they were a sketch group, I think out of Iowa originally. These guys were funny, doing sketch comedy, and they had a comedy workshop. Signed up for that, and I think it was it was a summer, maybe 6 workshops for $30 or something like that. And they taught us how to get on stage and feel comfortable. And I was so shy as a child. Somebody thought I was their imaginary friend. I mean, I was really a quiet, withdrawn, good conservative Nebraskan, didn't speak until spoken to. So this was kind of the first leap. And someone that I met in that group, Kristen Seam, said, you should come to improv workshops at the Spaghetti Factory. And I was super nervous and I don't know if this is going to work. But I got up and I got a laugh. And as you know, that's the comedy hook that takes you in. That's how I started going to workshops and started doing, improv and meeting all that group of people that were taking workshops too. There was a real boon at that time, at least 20, if not 30 people in those workshops each Saturday. And there were various other workshops as well too. Jose Simone had one, Jim Crenna had one, and the one at the Spaghetti Factory was run by John Elk.